今天进行的方式跟流程。在记者会进行的首先，那我们会请张领袖代表简单的跟大家致上问候。接下来我们就把时间留给大家，开放给各位来提问。今天记者会全程我们预计最晚在这个5点以前来结束。那由于今天出席的媒体朋友非常多，那也相当踊跃，所以为了让大家也都有机会可以跟张领袖代表来互动，所以稍后的这个媒体提问，我们建议是以每家媒体先一题为先。那么也为了方便领袖代表完整可以掌握各位的提问，那么也请各位在提问的时候先介绍一下您自己，还有代表的媒体。那同时提问时也请您稍微放大声量，然后放慢语速。那个谢谢大家的配合。
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the press conference with Dr. Maurice Chen, our leaders representative for 2023 APEC Economic Leaders Meeting. Before we start our meeting, I have some ground rules for today. So Dr. Chen will give a short remarks in the opening, and then we'll take questions. To allow everyone a chance to ask a question, please limit yourself to one question at a time. And please raise your hand, and our spokesperson, Mr. Alex Huang, will call on you, and our staff will pass over microphone to you. And please identify yourself, your name, and your media outlet you represent, so Dr. Chen could know who you are. And please also, when you ask your question, move your microphone close to you and speak your question clearly and loudly. Thank you so much.
谢谢各位。那么首先我们就请张领袖代表来向我们说几句话。
Well, I already greeted everyone when I came in. However, there was no response. Now, if you greet me now, I'll respond. Good afternoon to all of you. So that's my brief remark.
谢谢领袖代表。那么接下来
why don't we get on with the questions or whatever?
那我们就自然开始进行。那么我们是不是在开始开放提问 ？OK， 那我们是不是首先从台湾的公视的那个佩轩？
领袖代表好，我是公视新闻的叶佩轩。
声音大点。
好，领袖代表好，我是公视新闻的叶佩轩。想请教这一次在 APEC 过程中有没有跟美国总统拜登进行一些双边会谈？那谈的内容大概是什么？可以跟我们说明一下。然后另外有没有跟中国国家主席习近平有进行一些交流，谈了什么 ？OK， 好 ，With President Biden， 你们有没有双边会谈？
我跟 President Biden 有相当多的互动，但是没有正式的所谓双边会谈。但是有好几个资深的官员比方说是 Secretary of State Blinken， 比方说是 Vice President Kamala， 比方说是白宫的这个
Economic Council Committee Member, Senior Advisor, Leo Brenner.
我跟他们几位都有相当 深入
We
的
had
讨论。
in-depth discussion.
另外，关于就是有没有跟
As
中国国
for,
家主席
did
习近
you
平有一些
have
交流？
any exchanges
没有跟
with Mr. Xi Jinping?
有
No,
任何
not at all.
这个回答任何的这个谈话。
OK，
No
下一位，
engagement. Next.
那个 Reuters 的 Michael。
路透社的 Michael. 路透社的 Michael.
Where are you?
你在哪里？你在哪里？
Thank you. I am Michael Martina from Reuters. I just wanted to follow up on that question. Can you tell us what your conversations with President Biden and Secretary of State Blinken were like? Did you discuss Taiwan's election coming up next year? Thank you.
Well, my interactions with President Biden are of a social, in fact, I might say, humorous nature. And did you ask about my conversation with Blinken? With Secretary Blinken, I mainly convey our strong desire for regional peace and prosperity, and also, to some extent, our very strong desire for increasing the supply chain resiliency.
OK， 下一位，那个
Next.
尼凯的 Masahiro。
Hi,
Yes.
I'm Masao Okoshi from Nikkei, Japanese newspaper. I'd like to ask your perspective on the bilateral meeting between President Biden and President Xi Jinping. And you said last summer, globalization is almost dead. Is there any change in your assessment of global economy?
These are two separate issues, right? Two separate.
So,
First, you asked me my
perspective on the outcome of the
perspective of
bilateral
Biden and Xi
Xi
Jinping.
Jinping meeting.
Well, you probably, as reporters, you probably know more about the conversation than I do. But I read what you have written, or in your case, have you written anything, or have you? Well, anyway, I read what you have written, and my observation is that this is a good meeting, Xi Jinping and Biden. A good meeting, and it tends to relax the tension. It re-established the communication channel, and I think it's a good meeting. That's my perspective. And your second question?
Is there any change in your assessment to the world economy after the bilateral meeting?
My assessment, any change in what?
In your perspective about the structure of the world economy. So after the bilateral meeting.
Globalization. That's why you are. I said at one time, at least in chips, globalization is almost dead. At least in chips, free trade is almost dead. I stand on what I said.
下一位，那个 TVBS
Next.
李佳慧。
代表你好，我是倪家辉 TVBS 的记者。我们知道说 虽然用数字来评价你这一次的成果，并不应该，但我们还是想要问说，您大概和多少的官员或领袖见面？那谁没和您谈晶片？
谁没有跟我谈晶片啊？很多官员，我想很多人根本就不知道晶片哦，恐怕。Anyway, to answer your question seriously, 他们跟我谈晶片的人是不多anyway 大概不谈晶片的，这是你的问题嘛？谁没有跟我谈晶片？一半以上。
谈晶片的有什么内容可以跟我们分享？
Any sharing if they talk about chips with you?
我说出来，也许你认为好笑。他们问我晶片到底是怎么一回事哦。
Some of them ask me what is chips.
It's true.
That's true. 这是
OK， 下一位。
Next.
好，那个 Bloomberg。
Bloomberg， 彭博记者。
I'm Anna Swanson with the New York Times. Can I ask you, Dr. Cheng, what is your view of the investments that the United States is making in semiconductors? Will these investments be effective, and what will this mean for the U.S.-Taiwan relationship?
I'm sorry, would you repeat your question? What is the what?
Your view of the investments that the United States is making in semiconductors in the United States to build up chip facilities.
You are talking about the CHIPS Act?
The CHIPS Act, yeah.
Well, actually, you know the numbers, and you can look at that number. I think it was 52 billion, but about 39 is for subsidies of investment. Do we resonate? All right. Now, if you compare those numbers to the capital investments that only just TSMC makes, TSMC makes on the average $30-some billion a year. So, the CHIPS Act, $39 billion is for subsidy over a number of years. TSMC is spending that much or even more than that every year.
Are you saying it's too small to be effective, or?
Well, no, I didn't say that. You didn't ask that either.
Is it too small to be effective?
Are you asking now?
Yes.
Well, I will answer by just repeating what I said almost 2 years ago. 2 years ago now, in a podcast when I was talking with Dr. Ryan Hess, and my answer to him at that time was that anything like what the CHIPS Act was going to appropriate would be a wasteful exercise in futility.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Next question. Okay, Nippon TV.
Thank you so much. My name is Taka Abe with Japan's Nippon TV. So Dr. Chan, TSMC is constructing a plant in Kumamoto Prefecture. Could you tell us how you are planning to expand your business in Japan?
Would you repeat that? I didn't hear what you said.
I'm talking about TSMC is constructing a plant in Kumamoto Prefecture.
Oh, Kumamoto.
Yeah. Could you...
Well,
So how do you expand your business in Japan?
Is this a TSMC question?
Yes.
Well, you should ask TSMC.
Yeah, but I'm here, so.
Yeah, and I'm serious because, I really don't know all the details of TSMC's business.
And how do you see semiconductor industry in Japan? How do you see future for Japan's?
Well, of course, I know in general that TSMC's Japan progress is quite good. The current TSMC, I know that in general, as I said. Yeah. And I also know from my past experience with Japan's semiconductor industry that Japan has a very strong potential or very strong potential competitive advantage in semiconductor manufacturing.
Next， 工商时报。
我是工商的月华，我想问一下，就是我们这次双边会谈有谈到供应链韧性的部分是谈了什么？因为很多国家的关系。那还有在半导体跟台积电的部分有没有谈到什么？尤其是跟那个美国白宫的官员有没有谈到晶片的部分？我想问一下，就是供应链韧性的部分，就是跟各国供应链韧性，然后跟各国聊到了什么？
怎么样？
聊到了什么？各国的看法，或是您提出的看法？
供应链韧性，各国的看法。我想各国都希望所有的供应链都比较更为韧性。这个好像是，这是你要问的吗？
对，因为他们说你跟其他国家都有谈到供应链的部分，所以想说要了解这一块。
那我谈到的部分是主要还是在这个电子的供应链方面。
were mainly about supply chains in the electrics sector, especially in the semiconductor sector. Every country wants to have more resilient supply chains in semiconductor, and I told them that in terms of TSMC, that TSMC has been heavily increasing its production capacity in Taiwan and also has invested a big deal in the US and Japan in terms of expanding production volume. So TSMC we in general we are working hard to increase the resilience in semiconductor supply chains. And does TSMC has plans to expand in the US? For now, we haven't completed our factories yet, so we are not manufacturing yet.
Okay, next. AFP. Okay.
张领袖代表你好，我是 KTSF 26台的记者古林佳。I'm a reporter with KTSF TV. It's a Chinese TV station in San Francisco Bay Area. Welcome to San Francisco. My question is, as we know you have attended so many Apec summits, can you compare this time is hosted by America? And you also share about your interaction with the U.S. officials. So can you compare with this meeting with another, compare this meeting with a previous meeting you have attended. Do you feel the firm friendship by the U.S. government? Thank you.
Compare this meeting with previous meetings with respect to location and what?
Not the location, but because you have attended so many Apec summits, and this time it's hosted by the U.S. And what's your feedback? What's the impressive? What impressed you most?
Well, of course. Well, I do want to talk about location because I love San Francisco, and coming back to San Francisco, oh, this must be the maybe 1,000th time I've been here, maybe 1,000 times coming back to San Francisco. I think is great. Now, as far as the meeting itself is concerned, I certainly have seen more high-level, important officials this time than the previous times, because the previous times I was never in a U.S. location, and the previous meetings that I attended, the previous APEC meetings I attended, were all held outside the U.S. So this is the first time that I have attended that's in the U.S., and I've certainly seen more high-level U.S. officials than in the past, than in any past meetings.
Next question. 嘉文。
领袖代表你好，我是三立新闻的记者，我是陈嘉文。有一个问题想来请教哦，因为您刚刚有提到，在 Apec 整个会议当中有非常多的领袖代表关心这个半导体供应链的这个韧性，但是在美国的政界其实说法认为是说，这个美国对台海的稳定其实是有期限，它的期限是。
can only protect the safe security of the Taiwan Strait for so long. That is until the semiconductor sector or TSMC leaves Taiwan. Sorry, can you repeat your question? In the U.S. politics world, they say that the U.S. can only protect the cross-strait security until the semiconductor powerhouse is still based in Taiwan. If the semiconductor industry leaves Taiwan, they will probably not work so hard to protect the security across the strait. Your question is a hypothetical question, so I will not comment on that question because, in fact, if we look at the reality, you can tell it's not like what you said.
就重新建立像台积电这样的。
For the U.S. to establish manufacturing capacity that is equivalent to TSMC is almost impossible in the U.S. in short term. So, in the short term, this will not happen. Your question were all hypothetical. Which agency are you from?
我是三立电视，因为这个说法是那个美国的另一个总统的竞选人他提到这样子的说法，所以我们想来听听看。
What I said was based on a presidential candidate in the U.S., so that is why I asked that question.
历任什么？
历名总统参选人。对。
有过类似的说法，应该是一位而已。
One of the presidential candidates in the U.S. said that argument I just said.
那个嘉文，这个是不是后面再补充，或者是
？Maybe we'll keep your questions until later.
那个读卖新闻。
Hi, my name is Yuko Bukai from Japanese newspaper Yomiuri Dumai Shinwan, and my question is about your today's meeting with Prime Minister Kishida, Japanese Prime Minister. What was the talk about the security in the Taiwan Strait? And also, I want to know about what was your talk about chip investments between to Japan? Thank you.
Today we did not specifically talk about the Taiwan Strait because, simply because we both know where the other party stands. I mean, we both Japan and Taiwan want peace in Taiwan Strait. Yeah, we both know that. So there was no reason to repeat that. So in today's meeting, we did not specifically talk about Taiwan Strait.
What about the other one, like a chip investment in Japan? Chip, but semiconductors?
Mr. Kishida, Prime Minister Kishida, expressed satisfaction and pleasure in TSMC's investment in Japan.
Okay, next question. AP.
张先生你好，我是美联社唐迪迪。我的问题是，在这次 APEC 会议当中，除了和美方高级官员谈话以外，你有没有和别的 APEC 成员的国家领袖有会谈？这些会谈的内容主要涉及哪一方面？在多大程度上，台湾可以减少对中国大陆的经济的依赖性？谢谢。
我是跟除了因为刚刚开头的那个问题是问我跟美国的这个互动
about my interactions with the U.S.
事实上，你说讲我跟这次会议的领袖有什么互动？我想我跟
I also had
过半
many interactions with other leaders.
超过一半
I engaged in conversations with more than half of the leaders. APEC has 20-something economies, and I had conversations and interactions with more than 10 leaders.
那你还有问题吗？
Do you have other questions?
你和这些领袖谈了什么？在多大程度上可以减少对中国大陆的经济的依赖性？
To what level can Taiwan reduce its dependence on China in terms of economy? So I did not talk about economic dependence on China with other leaders. What we talked about was centered on peace, economic development, and resilient supply chains.
Next question. Taiwan Plus.
Taiwan Plus, please.
Dr. Chang, I'm Joyce Sun from Taiwan Plus News. If I could ask, as we're wrapping up your 7th time representing Taiwan for APEC, is there a lingering issue that is in the back of your mind that will kind of be keeping you up? As you wrap up your 7th time representing Taiwan at the APEC summit, is there a lingering issue that's going to be at the back of your head leaving this year's summit?
I'm sorry, I still do not. Do you understand? Maybe you can repeat the question.
Shorten your question, summarize to the point only, not background or context.
Is there a topic that's...
Yeah. 你能不能够你想要懂的话，能够 repeat 他的 question?
Is there a topic that's still in the back of your mind out of this year's summit?
Slowly, please.
Is there an issue from this year's summit that...
Is there issue on...
from this year's talks... from this year's talks...
Business talk?
That's still going to keep you up at night?
今年有什么议题您还是有特别想要谈或者是特别想要讲的部分？
跟谁啊？我并不是要你 translate， 我要你 repeat 他的话。假如你听得懂的话。
Or is there a topic that you didn't get to discuss at this year's talks?
Is there any topic that I didn't get to discuss in this conference?
That you wish to bring up?
I discuss every topic I wanted to discuss. There's no topic that I want to discuss, that I wanted to discuss, I didn't discuss.
Next.
Hello, Dr. Chang. My name is Naomi Lim and I'm with the Washington Examiner. Just to follow up on my colleague's question, can Taiwan reduce its economic dependence on China?
I mean, that's a general question. Can Taiwan reduce its dependence, its economic dependence on China? No. I mean, that you should ask an economic official that, a Taiwan economic official that. In fact, I'm not even sure that your question is entirely logical. I mean, apparently, you think that Taiwan cannot reduce its... Well, anyway, I think that question should be asked of an economic affairs official in Taiwan. Perhaps...
Okay, next question. 那个蓝衣服的那位，不好意思，我没有认出。
谢谢，你好，我是美国之音的记者丽亚。张博士你好。第一个问题，您怎么看美国政府对中国实施的高科技产品，尤其是高端芯片的出口管制？在这个问题上，您在峰会期间是否跟美方有过交流？
我在峰会的这个就是这几天了，是没有跟美国。事实上，我是表示
talk about that.
我是表示我。
But twice I have expressed my position that I support the U.S. position.
多有效是另外一个问题。
Regardless of effectiveness,
至少
at least
台积电而言
in terms of TSMC, I support U.S.
它的这个禁运啦这些东西。
Embargo or sanction
补问一个问题好吗
policies.
我们是不是先一个问题
May we just limit it to one question per agency? And next, please.
代表好，我是那个中央广播电台的记者谢达兴。我想请问一个题目是，您刚刚提到说该讲的、想讲的都有讲了，那您认为有完成蔡总统交付您的4个任务吗？
So, do you think that you have completed the missions that President Tsai asked you to do? Yes, I think I complete my mission. The 4 messages that I want to convey. Do you remember those 4 missions and tasks? Would you please read them out?
你不记得的话，你问我干嘛？
Why do ask me.
他叫我传到4个信息，我都传到了。
Messages that President Tai want me to convey, I have done that. I have completed my mission. And on this side,
okay.
The gentleman here.
张博士您好，我是自由亚洲电台的记者孙成。我的问题是，您觉得您的这次 APEC 之行，可不可以说是一次成功的这个参会呢？如果您觉得成功的话，您觉得您这次 APEC 之行最大的成果是什么？谢谢。
这个并不是很多事情都不是能够成功或者失败来
identify success or failure.
比方说
many things. For example, this one, AELM, I think
我的任务
my mission
就是传达
is to convey
蔡总统
President Tsai
要我传达的
President Tsai's 4
信息。
messages.
我觉得我已经做到了。
And I think I have done that. I have completed
所以
that.
你说这是成功吗？
So do you think
假如你
that's
说是成
successful
功，
or not?
我
If you
也
think
同意
that's
你。
a success,
假如
then I agree with
这
you.
不是成
And
功，
if you
那我
don't
要问
agree
你，
with me,
你什么时候才算成功啊
how do you identify the meaning of success?
？Anyway， 我做到了这个。
I think I have done what I
蔡总统给我的任务
my mission
就是要传达，就是要
empowered
全力传达这4个
President
信息。
Tsai the 4 major messages.
Okay, next question.
Hi, thank you very much. Francesca Chambers, USA Today. You said, sir, that you met with Vice President Kamala Harris while you were at the conference. For how long did you meet? Was it your first time meeting her? And what was your impression?
What was my what?
Your impression. What was your impression of her?
Impression. We met for, I would say, about nearly 30 minutes. Nearly 30 minutes. Between 20 and 30 minutes. And this was not the first time I met her. I met her last year in Bangkok at the APEC meeting in Bangkok last year. She represented President Biden that time. So I met with her there also. And my impression is she is a very sharp, very capable Vice President.
Okay, next question.
张领袖代表您好，我是台湾数位时代主笔陈修贤。我有一个问题，the U.S. Commerce Department, their CHIPS office, they draw up the plan to revitalize the U.S. semiconductor industry, targeting by 2030 to build multiple world-leading semiconductor manufacturing clusters in the U.S. as well as developing next-generation technologies. How will this affect Taiwan in 10 years' time? As well as how will this affect like semiconductor industry in Korea over the coming decade?
当然，这个是对无论是对台湾或者是对
regardless of Korea or Taiwan.
Both Korea and South Korea and Taiwan will have new competition. But frankly, if you are in this business, if you are in any business, particularly semiconductor business, competition is something that you cannot avoid. And we have Taiwan and both Korea and Taiwan have really gone through a lot of competition to get to where they are now. So new competition should not be anything new to them. Yeah.
Okay, next. Sorry.
Hi there, Gavin Bade with Politico. Sir, I wonder if I can get your opinion on United States trade policy. The Biden administration is in ongoing negotiations with Taiwan, but those talks don't include everything that the Taiwanese government wants.
The last sentence I didn't get.
Oh, but the talks do not include tariffs or market access, things that the Taiwanese government would like. Can I get your opinion on that, and also on the U.S. actions at the World Trade Organization, sir?
Well, I will ask John Dunn, who is the trade representative of Taiwan now.
Shall we talk later, or yeah, we can talk later.
How come you have that privilege? I
don't. Yes, Gavin. Thank you very much for the question. We would like very much to talk about market access with the United States. But we also understand this is not this is not a decision U.S. government wants to do now. So we expect we continue to discuss that with the U.S. government. As to U.S. action in WTO, we think they have particular concern, which we understand. We also understand it is a multilateral forum, and the U.S. and all other members, including Taiwan, we all need to find a solution to find how to settle this reform that we are all working on now. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Beyi from AFP News Agency. With the meeting between Presidents Joe Biden and President Xi Jinping, both sides agreed to resume military communication. How do you assess the outcomes of their meeting when it comes to the long-term stability and security of Taiwan? And are you optimistic about more stable relations between the U.S. and China? Thank you.
Would you repeat that question for me?
Regarding the Bai-Xi meeting, they resumed the military communication. How would you assess the outcome of the U.S.-China relationship in the long term, and also about the stability of Taiwan Strait?
Well, I think that I really think it was a good meeting. It was a good news that they resumed the military communications. And I think that it should help to reduce the tension between the United States and China, and it should increase the stability of Taiwan Strait.
Next question.
Joang 林州代表你好，我是中央社记者曾志怡。我想请问一下，因为刚刚主要是提到跟美国之间的互动，那以外的国家双边会谈大概有谈到哪些议题呢？谢谢。
这个问题我刚刚已经回答过了。
那请问一下，就是有美国以外是有跟哪一些国家
？In addition to the U.S. What other countries' leaders did you talk with? If you are talking about our interactions and short greetings in the lounge,
这种客气的话，讲几句比较 serious 的话，
And if
那我跟
I'm talking about more serious conversations,
这个
other than just greetings, then I have had conversations with over half of the leaders during this year's summit. What we talked about was mainly centered on peace and economic development, and also the resilience of supply chains. And of course, we also talked about semiconductor. Because it wasn't until 2 or 3 years ago that the general public was curious enough to even ask questions about semiconductors. But in the past couple of years, people have been very interested in semiconductors. And in fact, many leaders asked me about the reasons why semiconductors are so difficult to manufacture. And how come you have been able to be so successful in semiconductor manufacturing in Taiwan? They raised a lot of curious questions, and they were very interested in semiconductor. And this interest has gained traction over the past 2 or 3 years.
On the back.
我想应该也是最后的1-2个 question.
Hi, my name is John Ruich, and I'm with National Public Radio back over here. You said you had no interaction with, back in this corner here, sorry. You had no interaction with Xi Jinping. Did anybody from the Chinese Taipei delegation have any interactions with members of the Chinese delegation or the Hong Kong delegation?
I don't know, and they aren't all here, so I don't think we can give you an answer.
最后2个问题。
Last 2 questions.
我们让刚刚都还没有问到那个自由时报子琳。
领袖代表你好，我是自由时报记者子琳。我想请问的是，您在跟其他国家的领袖或是官员互动时，他们会不会担心台海的稳定会影响到供应链韧性？谢谢。
About cross-strait security
and
resilience of supply chains.
Well, 我想，这个我想不是领袖也会想到。
I believe that it's not just a concern for the leaders.
这个没有和平了。
Because without peace, we wouldn't have any supply chains. So that's an issue for everyone, even for me. I just happen to be our leader's representative, and this issue is also on the back of my mind. So you're asking if leaders are concerned about this issue? Of course.
I mean. So elementary.
This issue did not come up during our conversation because it was such a simple issue.
The
one in the back.
I feel very lucky, you know. So, Dr. Chang, I'm Liam. I'm from U Channel, situated in Silicon Valley. We are a non-profit media organization. One of our mission is to be our own observer and storyteller for Chinese American. We are very interested in the TSMC development in Arizona, Phoenix. I know TSMC has some difficulty there, maybe due to cultural differences? I don't know. Can you tell us more about that? And if possible, are you willing to use your influence to let us to observe there, to record the whole process there?
May I interrupt you there?
Yeah, I'm done.
You should really ask those questions of TSMC. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Just want to ask you a favor, like use your influence to.
No, I mean, if I answer you, TSMC may even fire me as the founder. Okay.
But then tell us about how's going there. How's going in the Phoenix, Arizona?
Well, in general, I think they are solving the problems one by one. There have been problems, but they are solving the problem. And the U.S. government, both the federal government and the state government and the municipal Phoenix government, they are all helping us to solve whatever problems we have. Yeah.
时间关系，谢谢各位今天的参与，谢谢领袖代表，这段时间跟我们的互动，谢谢各位。
Thank you all for joining us today,
Thank you,
and have a good
very much.
evening.
Thank you. Thank you.